What is up everyone? In this tutorial I'm going to show you a few methods to apply rivets to your scale model. Stay tuned! Here is what I will use: sharp pencil, riveting tool, compasses, vinyl tape, digital calipers, but you can use a steel ruler, fine sanding sponge, masking tape, and of course drawings with rivet lines. It's preferable to print those in 600 dpi resolution and with such size that matches your model. In the first case we have the almost perfect situation where the rivet lines are equally spaced and parallel to each other. First I will count the empty spaces between the rivet lines. Here I have 8 of them. Then I measure the length of the perpendicular panel line. I add a few tenths to account for the curvature. Next I divide the length by the number of the empty spaces, which equals to the distance between each panel line. Next I place a piece of masking tape on the measured panel line. Then I mark the position of the outer panel lines for the panel that I am working with. Next I remove the tape and place it on the cutting mat. Again, using the calipers, I transfer the distance between the rivet lines using the bounding panel lines as a beginning and end points. You should end up with the same amount of empty spaces and rivet lines as they are on the drawing. Next, I return the tape on the bottom panel line, carefully aligning it with the bounding panel lines. Now I can mark the rivet lines on the plastic. I do the same on the top panel line. I add another row of marks somewhere in the middle of the panel, so I can make the rivet lines as parallel to the bounding panel lines as possible. Next I cut a piece of vinyl tape and carefully apply it on the rivet line marks. After I am satisfied with the position, I draw the rivet line. I repeat that until I am finished with this panel. The panel on the other side is the same, I will do that as well. Now it's time to apply the rivets with the riveting tool. I do not apply excessive pressure, but a firm grip is necessary to avoid accidents. A comparison between this tool and the Trumpeter one you can find linked in the description or in the upper right corner of your screen. In the second case, the rivet lines are neither parallel nor equally spaced to each other. For this method, it is necessary to have the dimensions of the drawings to match those of your model. I place the masking tape on the drawing along the panel line that is transverse to the rivet lines. Next, I mark the surrounding panel lines for alignment purposes, and then I mark the rivet lines location. Usually discrepancies are inevitable, so I adapt the rivet lines locations if that's necessary. I do the same steps on the opposite panel line. I connect the marks with pencil with the help of the vinyl tape. After I am done drawing the rivet lines, I can use the riveting tool to create the rivets. In the third case, we have to deal with more complex surface. In this case, the rivet lines have to be parallel to the panel lines. Using the compasses, I measure and mark the location of the rivet line. Due to the shape, I avoid adding mark towards the top of the spine. The slope will cause a slight offset if I place a mark with the same distance to the panel line as the marks on the lower end. With the marks in place and visually checked, I place the vinyl tape. Here I place the edges of the tape looking toward the high point of the detail. This way I can maintain a straight line while the tape is in full contact with the surface. You can see that this is not the case with the opposite edge. After I am done with the drawing, I can inspect the lines and then apply the rivets. Regardless of the method you use, it is necessary to sand the surface, because the ridges of the rivets are pushed a bit above the surface. Watch more of my helpful tutorials by clicking on the thumbnail. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy modeling!